A distant bell chimes once, then silence returns. In these quiet hours, the world belongs to those who keep it running while everyone else sleeps. Tonight, we step into the quiet hours of the Thousand Sunnies navigation cabin. Settle into the stillness, let your bed hold you softly, let your thoughts grow quiet and distant, let the last of your effort melt away. This is canon and calm. Let us begin. The Thousand Sunny rests upon the shifting waves, her hull of Adam wood yielding a low, grounding groan that resonates through the floorboards. In the quiet hours of this watch, the ocean becomes a presence rather than a path, a sequence of rising and falling swells that cradle the ship. The navigation cabin is filled with the scent of dried ink, and the faint, sweet perfume of tangerines wafting from the trees just outside the glass. A single brass lamp provides the illumination here, its flame protected by a polished chimney. The amber glow stretches across the desk, touching the edges of hand-drawn charts that represent thousands of miles of travel. These maps are the record of a journey through the Grand Line, marked with the careful precision of someone who knows the cost of a single degree of error. The three needles of the log pose vibrate within their glass spheres, each one locked onto a different magnetic pull. They dance with a subtle, erratic motion, responding to the strange forces that govern these unpredictable waters. It is a quiet, metallic clinking, a tiny chime that marks the passage of every nautical mile through the dimness. Outside the window, the sea is a field of deep sapphire, broken only by the white foam of the wake. The stars above are bright and steady, providing a secondary guide for the sailor who knows how to read the celestial map. There is a profound stillness in this room, a separation from the chaotic energy of the daytime crew. The cedar shelves are lined with leather-bound volumes on meteorology and oceanography. Some of these books are time-worn, their spines creased from years of study in the pursuit of understanding the impossible weather of this sea. Each page holds a fragment of knowledge, a way to predict the sudden cyclones or the falling currents that define this landscape. A pair of brass dividers rests atop a fresh sheet of parchment, their points held ready for the next calculation. The inkwell is full, a dark pool of potential that will soon define the shape of a new coastline. The work is slow and methodical, requiring a focus that only the late hours can truly provide. The deck below is silent, save for the occasional creak of a rope or the soft thud of a sail adjusting to a shift in the breeze. The crew sleeps in the belly of the ship, trusting in the strength of the wood and the vigilance of the watch. It is a weighted responsibility, held with a sense of calm purpose in the face of the boundless horizon. Through the glass, the tangerine trees on the upper deck sway in a gentle, synchronized motion. Their leaves are glossy under the moonlight, catching the silver beams and reflecting them back into the cabin. These trees are a piece of home, a living connection to a distant garden that remains a constant in a life of constant change. The compass on the wall remains steady, its needle pointed toward the prow. It serves as a reminder of the direction chosen, even when the log pose suggests a more volatile path. There is a balance to be found between the magnetic pull of the islands and the steady intent of the navigator. A small clock ticks on the bulkhead, its mechanical pace a stark contrast to the fluid motion of the sea. It measures the seconds with a crisp, clear tone, marking the duration of the shift. Time feels different here, stretched by the expanse of the water and the absence of land. The shadows in the corners of the room are soft and deep, hiding the edges of the storage chests and the spare rolls of paper. The cabin feels smaller in the evening, a cocoon of warmth and light in the middle of a measureless expanse. It is a place of sanctuary where the complexity of the grand line is distilled into lines on a page. A light mist begins to form on the exterior of the window, blurring the line between the sky and the water. It creates a soft diffusion of the starlight, turning the view into a painting of greys and blues. The atmosphere is thick with salt, a constant reminder of the element that sustains and challenges the ship. The chair at the desk is worn in places, the wood polished by hours of use. It is a seat of authority and reflection, where the course is decided and the safety of the crew is ensured. The silence here is not empty. It is full of the history of every island visited and every storm survived. On the floor, the patterns of the wood grain seem to flow like the currents of the ocean. The Adam tree is a storied material known for its resilience and its ability to withstand the harshest conditions. To be surrounded by it is to feel a sense of security, a confidence in the vessel that carries the dream forward. The quill pen feels light in the hand, its feather tip catching the light as it moves across the paper. The scratching of the nib is a comforting noise, a small domestic task in the middle of the immense sea. Every stroke is a commitment to the truth of the voyage, a way to make the unknown known. In the distance, a bank of clouds moves across the moon, casting a temporary shadow over the waves. The shift in light is subtle, a darkening of the blue that makes the cabin feel even more isolated. The navigator watches the change with a practiced eye, looking for signs of a brewing storm or a shift in the pressure. The ambient warmth of the lamp is a small comfort against the chill of the sea breeze that leaks through the door. It is a dry, steady heat that keeps the ink flowing and the fingers nimble. The routine of the watch is a measure of peace, a way to process the events of the day and prepare for the challenges of the tomorrow. The maps are more than just guides. They are a legacy. They tell the story of a dream to see the entire setting mapped and understood. This ambition is a quiet flame that burns in the navigation room, fueled by every new discovery and every successful passage. As the hours pass, the log pose needles continue their tireless dance, never resting, never failing. They are the pulse of the journey, the heartbeat of the ship as it moves through the murk toward the next adventure. The watch persists, a steady presence in the heart of the vessel. The silence of the cabin is a rare gift, a moment to breathe and simply be. The ocean continues its endless cycle, a tireless motion that has existed for an immemorial age. In this room, the navigator is the bridge between the wildness of the sea and the order of the chart, a guide through the quiet hours as the ship drifts toward the dawn. The brass casing of the barometer feels cool against the palm, a steady anchor in a place where the weather is anything but certain. I watch the needle, which remains fixed for now, suggesting a rare moment of atmospheric stability in these turbulent waters. It is a relief, however brief, to know that the skies above intend to remain clear for the next few hours of the watch. The glass is flawless, reflecting the soft amber glow of the desk lamp in a way that makes the instrument look like a captured star. A faint scent of citrus remains in the room, a persistent reminder of the groves on the deck above. It mingles with the smell of old paper and the sharp, metallic tang of the sea, creating a unique perfume that defines this workspace. This fragrance is as much a part of the ship as the wood itself, a sign of life and growth amidst the endless salt. I breathe in deeply, letting the sharp aroma of the fruit trees clear the cobwebs of fatigue from my mind. Far below the floorboards, the rudder makes a low, groaning complaint as it fights against a cross-current. The vibration travels up through the frame of the vessel, a subtle message from the ship's very bones about the state of the sea. I adjust my stance, feeling the strength of the Adam wood as it absorbs the energy of the waves with effortless grace. It is a living thing, this ship, responding to the ocean with a wisdom that far exceeds its years. The triple needles of the log pose are never truly still, even when the ship is at rest. They quiver with a nervous energy, each one pointing toward a different magnetic pull from the islands that dot this strange sea. Watching them is like observing the heartbeat of the ocean itself, a constant, flickering reminder of the many paths we could take. I record the deviations in the margins of the log, noting how the middle needle tugs toward the northeast with increasing intensity. I reach for the pencil sharpener, a simple mechanical device bolted to the edge of the desk. The turn of the handle produces a satisfying rhythmic crunch as the blade shaves away layers of cedar. The scent of fresh wood shavings fills the immediate space, a dry and grounding aroma that cuts through the dampness of the evening. I brush the fine dust into a small tray, keeping the workspace tidy as the work continues. The inkwell is nearly empty, the dark liquid clinging to the sides of the glass like a tide pool at sunset. I carefully unscrew the cap of a fresh bottle, the seal breaking with a small, sharp pop that echoes in the quiet cabin. Pouring the ink requires a steady hand, a moment of absolute focus, where the only thing that exists is the flow of the black liquid. It is a deep obsidian hue, thick enough to hold the light of the lamp on its surface for a fleeting second. On the wall, a series of hand-drawn charts depicts the complex currents of the New World. These are not the mass-produced maps found in common ports, but personal records marked with red ink and hurried notes. Each line represents a lesson learned, a challenge overcome, or a mystery that still waits to be solved in the light of day. I trace the path of our last voyage with a finger, feeling the texture of the paper beneath my skin. The chair creaks as I shift my weight, the noise a familiar companion in the late hour. It is a sturdy piece of furniture, built to withstand the tilting of the deck during a storm, yet comfortable enough for long stretches of observation. The fabric is worn smooth in the center, a testament to the many hours spent plotting the course toward the horizon. I lean back, feeling the support of the high backrest as I scan the room for any signs of disorder. Outside, the wake of the ship glows with a pale, ghostly light as bioluminescent creatures are stirred by our passage. It is a silent firework display beneath the waves, a dance of neon blues and greens that illuminates the murk. For a moment the sea looks like a mirror of the starry sky above, blurring the line between the water and the firmament. I watch the lights fade into the distance, a trail of memories left behind in the dark. The Soldat dock system controls are situated in the corner, their levers polished to a high shine from frequent use. They represent the ingenuity of the shipwright, a series of hidden strengths that allow the vessel to adapt to any situation. Even in the dimness, the brass handles catch the light, standing ready for the moment they are needed. I check the alignment of the levers, ensuring that everything is locked in place for the nocturnal transit. I pick up a brass ruler, its weight substantial and reassuring in my hand. It is cold to the touch, having sat away from the warmth of the lamp for most of the watch. I lay it across the current chart, checking the distance between our last known position and the next waypoint. The calculation is simple, yet it requires a precision that keeps the mind sharp and the focus narrow. A small plant sits in a ceramic pot on the windowsill. Its leaves are vibrant green against the blue tones of the watch. It is a small piece of the shore brought to the sea, a living thing that requires care and attention amidst the mechanical tasks of navigation. I touch a leaf, finding it cool and waxy, a stark contrast to the rough texture of the maps. It seems to thrive here, protected from the salt spray by the thick glass of the cabin windows. The clock on the bulkhead ticks with a soft, persistent pulse, marking the passage of the minutes with mechanical certainty. It is the only thing in the room that follows a predictable path, unaffected by the winds or the tides. In the stillness, the ticking becomes a focal point, a way to measure the progress of the shift as the moon climbs higher. I count the beats for a moment, matching my breathing to the tempo of the gears. The leather covers of the logbooks are thick and textured, protecting the stories of the journey from the corrosive salt. I run my fingers over the embossed letters on the spine, feeling the ridges and valleys of the hide. These books are the memory of the ship, holding every triumph and every setback within their bound pages. They are weighted with the importance of the mission, a physical manifestation of the dream we all share. A gentle mist has started to form on the exterior of the glass, obscuring the view of the stars. It turns the world outside into a soft blur, a dreamlike landscape where shapes lose their definition. I take a cloth and wipe a small circle clear, peering out into the grey expanse to ensure no obstacles are lurking in the path. The ocean is a vast, empty mirror, reflecting nothing but the grey light of the moon. The lamp flickers once, the flame dancing as a stray draught finds its way through a gap in the window frame. I adjust the wick, turning it down just enough to stop the smoking while maintaining a steady glow. The light pools on the desk, casting long, dramatic shadows that stretch toward the corners of the cabin. It is a warm, inviting glow that makes the rest of the room feel even more isolated from the chill outside. The wooden beams overhead are massive, the curves of the Adam tree visible in the way the grain bends to follow the shape of the hull. There is a sense of immense power in these timbers, a strength that has been tested by the most ferocious weather. To be encased in such a vessel is to feel a profound sense of safety, a shield against the wildness of the deep. I look up at the ceiling, admiring the craftsmanship that went into every joint and every plank. I find myself staring at a blank page in the journal, the white surface waiting for the next entry. It is a clean slate, a chance to record the quiet observations of the watch before they are lost to memory. The first stroke of the pen is always the hardest, breaking the perfection of the page with the reality of the journey. I dip the quill into the ink, the nib scratching softly as I begin to write the date and time. The sea has a way of making one feel small, a tiny point of light in a measureless expanse of water. Yet within this room, there is a sense of purpose that counteracts the scale of the surroundings. Every measurement, Every note and every adjustment is a way of asserting control over the chaos of the environment. I take pride in the accuracy of my work, knowing that the safety of the crew depends on these small details. The drawers of the desk are filled with the tools of the trade: compasses, dividers, spare nibs, and rolls of twine. Each item has its place, organized with a meticulous care that reflects the importance of the work. I open one drawer just to ensure everything is in order. The sliding of the wood a smooth and familiar noise. The tools are clean and well maintained, ready to be used at a moment's notice. The shadows in the room seem to deepen as the lamp burns lower, the edges of the furniture disappearing into the dimness. It creates a sense of intimacy, a private world where the only things that matter are the maps and the needles. The rest of the crew is asleep, trusting in the watch to keep them on the right path through the quiet hours. I embrace the solitude, finding a rare peace in the silence of the navigation room. A distant bell chimes, the tone muffled by the thick walls of the cabin. It is a signal from another part of the ship, a reminder that I am not truly alone in this nocturnal vigil. The vessel is alive with the breathing of its inhabitants, a collective pulse that beats in time with the motion of the waves. I listen to the murmurs of the ship, translating the creaks and groans into a language of safety and progress. I lean back for a moment, letting my eyes rest from the strain of the fine print on the charts. The ceiling is a canopy of dark wood, the patterns of the grain resembling the very currents I am trying to master. It is easy to get lost in the details, to forget the scale of the voyage in the focus on the immediate task. I close my eyes for a second, feeling the gentle tilt of the deck as the Sunny rides over a long, slow swell. The temperature in the cabin has dropped slightly, the chill of the ocean beginning to seep through the insulation. I pull my coat tighter, the fabric providing a layer of warmth against the cooling atmosphere. It is a minor discomfort, a small price to pay for the clarity and peace that comes with the late watch. The stars are still visible through the cleared patch of the porthole, guiding us toward the future. The log pose needles have slowed their dance, settling into a steady vibration that suggests we are holding our course. It is a good sign, a moment of harmony between the ship and the magnetic pulls of the region. I record the observation in the log, the ink drying quickly in the dry warmth of the lamp. The page is now half full, a record of a quiet and successful watch in the middle of the sea. The journey is far from over, with many more leagues to cover before the next landfall. Yet in this moment there is a feeling of completion, a sense that the work of the watch is being done well. The maps are updated, the instruments are checked, and the ship continues its steady progress through the moonlit stretch of the sea. I feel a deep satisfaction in the routine, a comfort in the repetition of the tasks. As I prepare for the final portion of this shift, I take one last look at the horizon through the cleared patch of the porthole. The stars are beginning to fade, the first hint of a change in the light appearing on the edge of the sky. It is a slow transition, a gradual shift from the murk of the evening toward the promise of a new day. I watch the transformation with a quiet heart, knowing that the dawn will bring new challenges and new discoveries. The logbook remains open on the desk, its pages catching the last of the lamp's glow as the watch continues into the final hour. The ink, a deep midnight blue, sits within its glass well, waiting for the next stroke of the quill. It is a specialized blend, resistant to the spray of the salt water and the humidity of the tropical seas. I dip the nib, feeling the slight resistance of the fluid, and watch as a single drop clings to the metal tip. It is a small thing, yet it holds the power to define our path across the nameless reaches of the ocean. The parchment beneath my hand is thick, with a texture that speaks of quality and endurance. It has traveled through storms and calm alike, absorbing the history of our journey in every smudge and line. I trace the edge of a newly drawn coastline, the ink still slightly tacky under the soft glow of the desk lamp. Every curve of the shore and every depth marker is a testament to the vigilance required in these unpredictable waters. Outside the glass, the atmosphere is cool, carrying the faint, sweet scent of the tangerine trees from the deck below. Those trees are a piece of home, a living connection to a distant shore that thrives even in the heart of the sea. The leaves must be shivering slightly in the salt breeze, though the glass muffles the rustle of their movement. It is a comforting thought, knowing that life continues to bloom even as we sail through the emptiness of the late hours. The log pose, mounted securely on its brass stand, remains the most vital occupant of this desk. Its 3 glass spheres, each housing a needle that points toward a different magnetic possibility, are never truly still. They quiver with a nervous energy, reacting to the invisible forces that weave through the grand line like hidden currents. I watch the center needle, which has maintained a steady vertical alignment for the last hour, indicating a stable path toward our next destination. Below the floorboards, the Adam wood of the hull hums, with a low resonant frequency that vibrates through the soles of my boots. This wood is legendary, said to withstand any hardship, and its presence provides a sense of security that no other material could offer. I can feel the strength of the ship in every creak of the joints, a sturdy companion that carries us safely through the murk of the ocean. It is a living entity in its own right, responding to the pressure of the waves with a flexible, enduring grace. I turn my attention back to the charts, where the scattered islands of the New World are marked with careful precision. Each one is a story, a challenge, or a mystery yet to be unraveled by our persistent curiosity. The scale of the map is immense, yet it feels intimate when viewed through the lens of our shared experiences. I add a small notation near a cluster of reefs, a warning for future watches to maintain a wide berth during the change of the tides. The lamp flickers once, the flame dancing in its glass chimney as a stray draught finds its way through a seam in the window. The shadows stretch and contract, playing across the wooden walls like the ghosts of previous voyages. I reach out to adjust the wick, the warmth of the brass casing seeping into my fingertips with a gentle, steady heat. It is a simple task, a moment of maintenance that keeps the dimness at bay for a few more hours. In the corner of the desk, a small vivre card lies flat, its edges slightly frayed from constant handling. It points toward a distant friend, a silent tether that connects us across the measureless distance of the sea. The paper moves almost imperceptibly, a slow, dragging motion that suggests the person it represents is also in motion. It is a quiet reminder of the bonds that pull us forward even when the horizon is hidden by the veil of the evening. A magnifying glass, framed in tarnished silver, rests atop a stack of older nautical records. I pick it up, the weight of the tool familiar and balanced, in my palm. Through the lens, the fine details of the topography become clear and sharp, revealing the intricate patterns of the shoals and sandbars. It is a different perspective, a way to see the hidden dangers that might be missed by the naked eye in the low light. The silence of the cabin is layered, composed of the murmur of the sea and the internal workings of the ship. There is the steady tick of the chronometer, a mechanical pulse that marks the passage of our lives, 1 second at a time. It is a disciplined sound, a contrast to the erratic splashing of the waves against the exterior of the hull. I find myself matching my breathing to its pace, a calm, measured cycle that clears the mind of any lingering fatigue. I move to the side window, where the reflection of the cabin overlays the view of the water outside. The sea is a dark, churning expanse, the foam of our wake glowing with a faint bioluminescent light. It is as if the ocean itself is dreaming, its thoughts manifesting as sparks of cold fire that trail behind us like a comet's tail. I watch the lights for a moment, captivated by the ephemeral beauty of the life that thrives in the depths. On the shelf above the desk, a collection of glass jars holds samples of sand and soil from every island we have visited. They are small trophies of our progress, each one a different color and texture, from the white sands of a desert isle to the volcanic ash of a mountain peak. I run a finger along the glass, feeling the coolness of the containers and the history they represent. We are collectors of places, gatherers of the environment, building a library of the world's diverse landscapes. The compass on the wall, a large ornate instrument, confirms our heading with a steady, unwavering needle. It is a backup to the log pose, a traditional tool that still holds its value in the face of more complex navigation. The brass face is polished, reflecting the lamplight in a series of golden arcs that shift as the ship rolls. It is a reliable anchor for the senses, a fixed point in a setting that is constantly in flux. I take a sip of tea, the liquid now lukewarm, but still carrying the herbal bitterness that keeps the senses sharp. The cup is made of thick ceramic, decorated with a simple wave pattern that has become worn over years of use. It is a small comfort, a ritual of the watch, that provides a moment of reflection amidst the technical demands of the work. The warmth spreads through my chest, an internal glow that counters the chill of the late evening atmosphere. A map of the stars is pinned to the bulkhead, its constellations marked with silver ink that glimmers in the half-light. I compare the positions on the chart to the glimpses of the sky I can see through the porthole, verifying our latitude. The celestial patterns are different here, shifted by the strange magnetism of the region, yet they still provide a sense of direction. They are the oldest guides, the timeless markers that have led sailors home for thousands of years. The floorboards groan softly as the ship adjusts to a change in the wind's direction, the sails above likely tightening in response. I can imagine the rigging humming with the tension of the breeze, a musical note that resonates through the entire structure. It is a sign of efficiency, of the ship and the elements working in harmony to propel us toward our goal. I make a note of the wind shift in the log, recording the time and the estimated velocity with a steady hand. I pick up a compass divider, its pointed legs sharp and precise, and use it to measure the distance between 2 points on the map. The metal is cold, a stark contrast to the warmth of the lamp, and it makes a soft, scratching sound as it moves across the parchment. It is a task of geometry, of translating the physical reality of the ocean into the abstract language of the chart. Each measurement is a step towards certainty, a way to quantify the immense scale of our voyage. The cabinet doors, made of the same sturdy wood as the hull, contain the tools of the trade, from sextants to spare ink. I open one, the hinges moving with a silent, well-oiled smoothness, and retrieve a fresh stick of sealing wax. The scent of the wax is earthy and rich, a smell that I associate with the completion of a task and the securing of information. It is a small detail, yet it adds to the sense of order and purpose that defines the navigation cabin. As the hour progresses, the light in the cabin seems to grow softer, the shadows deepening in the corners as the lamp burns lower. The transition is subtle, a gradual shift in the visual environment that mirrors the slow passage of the watch. I do not feel the need to rush or to hurry the work, for the sea has its own tempo, and we are merely guests in its domain. The ship continues its steady forward motion, a silent hunter of horizons in the quiet of the late hours. I lean forward, resting my chin on my hand as I watch the ink dry on the latest entry of the logbook. The words are a record of peace, of a shift spent in contemplation and careful stewardship of the ship's path. There is a profound satisfaction in this labor, a feeling of being exactly where I'm meant to be, in the heart of the ocean. The journey continues. The maps grow more detailed, and the ship sails on into the unfolding mystery of the coming day. The small glass sphere of the log pose sits on its cushioned pedestal, the needle within quivering with a persistent magnetic hunger. It does not point toward the north as a mundane compass might, but toward the invisible pull of the next island, somewhere beyond the curve of the sea. I watch the delicate silver pointer as it vibrates against the glass, a tiny, frantic heartbeat in the silence of the cabin. The wood of the desk, carved from the legendary treasure tree Adam, feels remarkably solid beneath my palms, vibrating with the pulse of the ship's soul. It is a material that has survived countless storms, and yet, here in the quiet, it feels as soft as silk to the touch. I trace the grain of the timber, following the intricate, swirling patterns that tell a story of growth and resilience over many decades. I reach for the inkwell, finding it nearly depleted after the evening's long entries, and carefully unscrew the brass cap. The scent of iron and oak gall rises to meet me, a sharp, familiar aroma that grounds me in the present moment. I pour a fresh measure of the dark fluid, watching it swirl and pool, like a miniature ocean of secrets waiting to be spilled onto the page. A brass barometer mounted on the wall catches the reflection of the lantern, its needle hovering near the mark for fair weather. I tap the glass casing lightly, a habit of many years, to see if the pressure fluctuates even a fraction. The needle remains steady, a silent promise of a calm passage through these unpredictable waters for at least a few more hours. I turn my attention to the rack of maps, where dozens of scrolls are tucked into their individual cubbyholes, each one representing a fragment of our journey. Some are yellowed with age, their edges frayed from constant use, while others are fresh and crisp, waiting for the first stroke of a pen. I pull one out, the parchment unrolling with a dry, papery whisper, revealing the jagged coastline of a land we passed weeks ago. The moonlight through the porthole casts a silver disk upon the floor, which slides back and forth as the ship rolls on the swell. It is a slow, hypnotic motion, a silent pendulum that marks the passage of the watch without the need for a clock. I find myself timing my breathing to this movement, letting the natural tilt of the vessel dictate the tempo of my thoughts. I pick up a pair of brass dividers, the metal cool and reassuringly weighted in my hand, and place the points upon the chart. I am measuring the distance between our current estimated position and the nearest reef marked on the old sea charts. It is a task of precision, requiring a steady eye and an even steadier hand to ensure we maintain a safe margin of error. The lantern flame flickers slightly as a stray draft finds its way through the doorframe, casting long dancing shadows across the ceiling. I adjust the wick, turning the small knob until the light is once again a steady golden glow illuminating the workspace. The warmth of the lamp is a comfort, a small sun in the center of my private universe, keeping the chill of the ocean at bay. High above, the massive beams of the cabin ceiling groan with the weight of the deck above, a sound that is more of a vibration than a noise. It is the ship speaking, a low, guttering language of tension and support that only those who live within her can truly understand. I listen to the structural symphony, finding a strange sense of security in its complexity and its strength. I open a small drawer, the handle made of polished bone, and find a collection of spare nibs for my pens. They are organized by size and flexibility, each one designed for a specific type of line, from the bold strokes of a border to the fine detail of a reef. I select a medium nib, testing its point against my thumbnail before setting it aside for the next round of drafting. My telescope sits on its tripod by the window, its brass body gleaming with a dull luster, the lenses capped to protect them from the salt atmosphere. I spend a moment polishing the metal with a soft cloth, removing the faint fingerprints and the microscopic layer of sea spray. It is an act of stewardship, ensuring that when the time comes to look ahead, the vision will be clear and unobstructed. On the corner of the desk, a small sand timer is nearing the end of its cycle, the last few grains of white sand trickling through the narrow neck. I watch as the tiny mound grows, a miniature mountain of time, until the top chamber is finally empty. I flip the glass over, the silent reset of an hour, and watch the process begin anew, a quiet reminder of the persistence of the watch. The spines of the reference books on the shelf are worn, their titles etched in gold leaf that has faded over time. These are the chronicles of explorers and scholars, the accumulated knowledge of the sea that serves as my constant companion. I pull a volume on celestial navigation, the leather binding cool and textured, and flip through the pages to find a specific star chart. The shadow of the ship's helm, visible through the upper glass of the door, remains motionless, locked in place for the night's steady course. It is a silhouette of authority, a reminder of the many hands that have guided this ship through calm seas and raging tempests. I feel a connection to those who have stood there, a shared responsibility for the lives of everyone on board. I lean back into the leather-bound chair, the material creaking softly as it conforms to my weight, providing a moment of rest. The texture of the leather is pebbled and tough, yet it has been softened by years of use, a silent witness to countless hours of study. I close my eyes for a few seconds, letting the ambient noise of the ship wash over me, a soothing tide of familiarity. Tiny dust motes dance in the beam of the lantern, swirling in the slight currents of the room, like stars in a localized galaxy. They are illuminated for a moment before drifting back into the dimness, a transient beauty that only the solitary watcher ever sees. I follow their aimless path, finding a sense of peace in their simple, unhurried existence. In the far corner of the cabin, the shadows are deep and impenetrable, hiding the storage crates and the spare rigging stored there. It is a space of potential, a quiet void that balances the bright focus of the desk and the active work of navigation. I find that I do not fear the murk, for it is a necessary part of the room's character, a place for the mind to rest. The parchment of the latest map is slightly translucent when held up to the light, revealing the watermark of the papermaker. It is a small, elegant design, a mark of quality that ensures the paper will not degrade, even in the damp environment of the ocean. I appreciate the craftsmanship, the way each element of my work is supported by the labor of others across the world. I catch my own reflection in the glass of a framed map on the wall, a ghostly image that seems to float over the charted islands. My eyes look tired, but focused, the gaze of someone who has spent the quiet hours looking for what lies beyond the horizon. It is a face that belongs to the sea, marked by the sun and the salt, and the long vigils of the evening. As the watch continues, the sounds of the ship seem to become more intimate, as if the vessel is whispering its secrets to me alone. The splash of the waves against the hull is a constant rhythmic applause, celebrating our progress through the trackless waste. I take a deep breath, the atmosphere in the cabin tasting of old paper and salt, and prepare to move into the final phase of my duties. I reach for the brass barometer, hanging by the door, its glass face cool against my fingertips. The needle vibrates with the slightest tremor, indicating a steady pressure as we glide through the calm waters of the evening. It is a reliable companion, this instrument, providing a silent assurance that the weather remains in our favor for the time being. I watch the needle for a long minute, ensuring there are no sudden drops that might signal an approaching storm, but it remains perfectly still. My gaze shifts to the 3-needle log pose, resting in its velvet-lined box on the desk. Each needle points toward a different magnetic pull, a constant reminder of the strange and unpredictable nature of the Grand Line. The middle needle shivers, locked onto an island many leagues away, whispering of adventures yet to come, and mysteries waiting to be unraveled. I adjust the box slightly, ensuring the glass casing is clear, so that the next navigator can read the directions without any hesitation. I move to the small window, where the scent of tangerine blossoms drifts in from the deck. Nami's trees are a vibrant presence, even in the moonlight, their leaves rustling like soft silk in the ocean breeze. The fragrance is sweet and sharp, a reminder of home and safety amidst the immense expanse of the sea. It is a comforting smell, one that grounds me in the reality of our ship and the friends who sleep below. On the shelf, a row of ink bottles stands like a line of tiny glass soldiers. I select the deep indigo, its liquid dense and inviting, and carefully unscrew the cap. The scent of iron and oak gall fills the immediate space, a familiar and grounding aroma that signals the start of my record-keeping. I place the bottle in its recessed holder, ensuring it cannot tip if the ship should encounter a sudden wave. I dip the tip of my quill into the ink, watching as the dark fluid is drawn up into the slit of the feather. It is a delicate process, requiring a steady hand and a focused mind. I prepare to write, the tip of the nib hovering just above the parchment as I gather my thoughts for the entry. The silence of the cabin is a canvas, and the scratch of my pen will be the first mark upon it. The ink flows smoothly, forming elegant loops and sharp lines as I record the ship's position and the wind's direction. Each entry is a testament to our journey, a physical manifestation of the time we have spent traversing the blue. I take pride in the neatness of my work, knowing that these logs will be studied by those who follow in our wake. The paper absorbs the ink quickly, the wet sheen fading into a matte finish as the words become a permanent part of the record. The map spread before me depicts the swirling currents of the White Sea, a memory of our time among the clouds. The lines are intricate, weaving together in a complex dance that defies the logic of the lower world. I trace the path we took, my finger moving over the paper, feeling the slight indentations left by the cartographer's tools. It is a strange thing to look back on a place so unreachable and know that we were once there. In the corner of the cabin, the laver for the soldier dock system stands ready and waiting. It is a marvel of engineering, a testament to the ingenuity of our shipwright and the strength of the Thousand Sunny. The metal is cold to the touch, a stark contrast to the warmth of the room, and I feel a sense of security, knowing the power it commands. I check the locking mechanism, ensuring it is engaged, a small but vital part of the night's routine. I pick up a soft cloth and begin to polish the brass casing of the primary compass. The metal brightens under my touch, reflecting the amber glow of the lantern in 1,000 tiny glints. It is a meditative task requiring little thought, but providing a great deal of satisfaction as the tarnish disappears. The compass is the heart of our navigation, the one tool we cannot do without, and I treat it with the respect it deserves. The walls of the cabin are made from the legendary Adam wood, its grain tight and resilient. I can feel the strength of the tree in every plank, a living history that supports us as we face the perils of the sea. The wood has a faint, spicy scent that blends with the salt and the ink, creating a unique perfume that defines this space. I run my hand along the wall, feeling the texture of the grain and the warmth of the wood. A beam of moonlight filters through the skylight above, casting a silver rectangle upon the wooden floor. It moves slowly, a silent witness to the passage of time as the ship rolls gently on the swells. I watch the light, fascinated by its ethereal quality and the way it transforms the ordinary into something magical. The dust motes in the beam look like tiny stars, dancing in a miniature galaxy of their own. I reach for the lantern and carefully adjust the wick, bringing the flame down to a low, steady glow. The light softens, the shadows stretching and deepening as the room takes on a more intimate character. It is in these moments that I feel most connected to the ship, as if we are the only two beings awake in a sleeping universe. The flicker of the flame is a pulse of life in the quiet dimness of the cabin. On the desk, a stack of charts waits to be sorted and filed away. They are a record of our progress, a collection of islands visited and horizons crossed. I handle them with care, for they are more than just paper. They are the blueprints of our journey and the maps of our dreams. I organize them by region, placing the New World maps at the top of the pile, ready for the morning's planning. The chronometer on the wall ticks with a steady mechanical pulse, marking the seconds with precision. It is a reassuring tone, a constant in a world of change, and I find myself breathing in time with its measured beat. The gold hands move slowly, inexorably, toward the dawn and the end of my watch. I check the time against my notes, ensuring that our speed matches the calculations I made earlier. I look up through the skylight at the stars scattered across the sky, like diamonds on black velvet. They are our guideposts, the celestial markers that have led sailors home for thousands of years. I recognize the constellations, their familiar shapes providing a sense of comfort in the face of the unknown. The sky is a map of its own, one that never changes, no matter how far we travel. Beside my hand, a small cup of tea has gone cold, forgotten in the focus of my work. I take a sip, the bitter liquid waking my senses and grounding me in the present moment. It is a small reminder of the mundane needs that persist even in the midst of high adventure, a link to the world of the living. I set the cup back down, the porcelain clinking softly against the wood of the desk. The shadow of the helm cast upon the cabin door remains a constant presence. It is a silhouette of purpose, a reminder of the path we have chosen and the destination we seek. I find strength in its image, a symbol of the collective will that drives this ship forward through every storm. It is a silent guardian, watching over us as we sleep and as we work. I begin to organize my tools, placing the quill back in its holder and closing the ink bottle. Each item has its place, a necessary order that ensures efficiency and prevents chaos during the late hours. It is a quiet ritual, a way of bringing the night's work to a tidy and satisfying conclusion. I wipe the nib of the pen, ensuring no ink remains to dry and clog the delicate tip. I run my hand over the leather cover of the main logbook, feeling the grain of the hide. It is weighted and substantial, a repository of our collective history that grows more precious with every passing day. I feel a sense of awe when I consider the stories it contains and the legends that are being written within its pages. It is a living document, a piece of our souls captured in ink and paper. As I prepare to hand over the watch, I take one last look around the cabin, ensuring that everything is in its proper order. The room is a sanctuary of knowledge, a quiet hub of navigation that guides us through the chaos of the Grand Line. I feel a deep sense of peace, knowing that I have done my part to keep the ship and its crew safe through the evening. I prepare to wake my successor, leaving the cabin in a state of perfect readiness for the challenges of the coming day. The thought of waking the next watchman remains just that, a thought for a few minutes more. There is a specific quality to this time of the morning that I am loath to surrender. The vessel feels more like a living creature when the rest of the crew is dreaming. I can hear the soft, measured pulse of the hull as it slices through the water. It is a tempo that resonates through the soles of my feet, connecting me to the very heart of the vessel. I turn my focus back to the log pose, mounted upon its pedestal. The 3 glass spheres catch the flickering glow of the oil lamp creating miniature galaxies of amber light. Inside, the needles tremble with a nervous energy as if they are eager to reach the next destination. They are never truly still, always reacting to the magnetic whims of this strange sea. I watch the middle needle as it dips slightly, responding to a current that we cannot yet see. This ship, crafted from the storied Adam wood, has a voice of its own. It does not merely creak, it speaks in a language of groans and sighs. Every plank and every beam has been tested by the most ferocious storms the Grand Line could offer. I run my fingers along the edge of the navigation table, feeling the incredible strength of the timber. It is warm to the touch, as if the wood still retains the heat of the sun that once nourished it. Outside the thick glass of the cabin windows, the ocean is expanse of shifting silver. The moon, hanging high above, casts a brilliant path across the water, a celestial road that we follow with unwavering faith. There are no other ships in sight, no lights from distant shores to break the isolation. We are alone in this great expanse, a tiny speck of life navigating the infinite. It is a humbling realization, one that makes the warmth of the cabin feel even more precious. I move toward the window to look out at the deck, where the tangerine trees stand in their pots. Their leaves are dark in the moonlit hours, but I can imagine the vibrant orange of the fruit. The scent of citrus sometimes drifts through the vents, a sweet, sharp contrast to the salt spray. It is a reminder of the navigator's home, a piece of a distant island that travels with us. Those trees have survived through frost and heat, a testament to the care they receive. I return to the charts spread across the desk, looking at the intricate lines I have drawn. Each stroke of the pen represents an hour of travel, a mile of progress toward our goal. The ink is dry now, a permanent record of our passage through these waters. I trace the line of our current course, noting the way it curves to avoid a known whirlpool. Navigation is an art as much as it is a science, requiring intuition and a deep understanding of the sea's moods. There is a drawer beneath the table filled with instruments of brass and steel. I open it slowly, the metal sliding with a familiar metallic hiss. Inside lie dividers, protractors, and a small handheld telescope, each one a tool of my trade. They are well worn, their surfaces polished by years of use and the oil from my hands. I pick up the dividers, adjusting the hinge with a practiced thumb, feeling the weight of the metal. I think of the islands we have passed, and the ones that still lie ahead, shrouded in mystery. Each one is a story, a challenge, a memory that we carry with us in our hearts. The Grand Line is a place where the impossible becomes reality, and where the horizon is always shifting. It is a place of wonder and of danger, where every sunrise brings a new adventure. I feel a sense of pride in being the one who guides us through this beautiful, chaotic environment. I look up at the ceiling, where the heavy beams cross one another in a sturdy grid. They are the skeleton of our home, the framework that keeps us safe from the crushing pressure of the waves. I can hear the faint muffled sounds of the crew as they turn in their sleep below deck. Their dreams are the fuel that drives this ship, their ambitions the wind in our sails. I am the guardian of those dreams for as long as my watch lasts. I move to the corner of the cabin, where a small stove sits cold and silent. Earlier in the evening it provided a comforting heat, but now the chill of the morning is beginning to seep in. I pull my coat tighter around my shoulders, the thick fabric offering a layer of protection. The cold is not unwelcome. It keeps my mind sharp and my senses alert for any change in the weather. I listen to the wind as it whistles through the rigging, a high, lonely note. I pick up a small wooden carving that sits on a shelf, a gift from a friend on a long-forgotten island. It is a simple thing, a bird with its wings spread, but it holds a great deal of meaning. It is a token of friendship, a reminder of the connections we make as we travel. I turn it over in my hand, feeling the smooth, polished surface of the wood. Such small objects become anchors in a life that is constantly moving. I check the brass clock on the wall once more. It's ticking, a constant companion in the silence. The minutes are stretching out, each one a slow, deliberate step toward the dawn. I find myself counting the ticks, a way of measuring the passage of time when there are no other markers. The pendulum swings back and forth, a steady, unwavering motion that never falters. It is a symbol of order in a setting that is often unpredictable. I take a moment to look at the library door, imagining the thousands of books that line the shelves. There is so much knowledge contained within this ship, so many stories waiting to be read. I have spent many hours in that room, searching for clues to the mysteries of the Grand Line. It is a sanctuary of learning, a place where the mind can travel even when the body is at rest. I feel a deep appreciation for the wisdom that has been gathered here. I walk across the cabin, my boots making a soft, thudding sound on the polished floorboards. Each plank is fitted perfectly, a testament to the skill of the shipwrights who built her. I can feel the subtle vibration of the rudder as it corrects our course, keeping us true to the needle's lead. The ship is responsive, a finely tuned instrument that obeys every command. It is a privilege to be at the helm of such a magnificent vessel. I look through the skylight at the stars, which are beginning to fade as the light changes. The constellations are shifting, moving across the sky in their age-old patterns. I identify the North Star, a fixed point in a world of change, a reliable guide for any sailor. It is a comfort to know that some things remain constant, no matter how far we roam. The celestial map is as familiar to me as the charts on my desk. I reach for a small bottle of specialized oil and a soft cloth to clean the brass fittings. It is a mundane task, but one that I find deeply satisfying. I rub the metal until it shines, removing the salt and grime that accumulates during the voyage. The brass glows under my touch, reflecting the dim light of the cabin. It is a way of showing respect for the ship and for the tools that keep us safe. I think of the vastness of the sea and the smallness of our ship, and I am not afraid. There is a sense of belonging that comes from being part of a crew, part of a family. We share the same goals, the same fears, and the same triumphs, bound together by our shared journey. This cabin is more than just a room. It is a place of transition where the past and the future meet. I feel a profound sense of purpose in this quiet moment. I lean against the navigation table, looking out at the horizon where a faint line of grey is appearing. The night is almost over, its secrets tucked away for another time. I feel a sense of accomplishment, knowing that I have guided us through another watch. The ship is steady, the course is true, and the crew is safe. It is the best possible outcome for a night's work. I take one last look at the log pose, ensuring that the needles are still pointing in the right direction. They are steady, their tremors a sign of life rather than uncertainty. I feel a surge of affection for this strange, wonderful device that has led us through so much. It is our compass, our guide, our link to the islands of our dreams. I trust it with my life and the lives of my friends. I turn toward the door, my hand resting on the cool brass handle. The transition to the next watch is a sacred moment, a passing of the torch. I am ready now to surrender my post and find my own rest in the quiet of the cabin. I take a deep breath, the scent of the sea filling my lungs one last time. The cycle of the watch continues, a never-ending pattern of vigilance and rest. The inkpot is nearly empty, a small pool of indigo fluid clinging to the glass bottom. I dip the quill, feeling the scratch of the nib against the parchment. It is a delicate balance of pressure and flow to record the final coordinates of this watch. The fluid is thick, smelling of charcoal and sea salt, a scent that defines these late hours. I write with a slow, deliberate hand, ensuring every numeral is legible for the morning. The paper is thick, textured with the history of our travels. I slide the drawers shut, the wood-on-wood glide, a muted thud in the quiet cabin. Inside are maps of islands we have visited, and those that remain only legends. Each sheet is a memory of a storm survived or a sunlit shore discovered. They are kept in order by a hand that cares for every detail. The storage unit is crafted from dark mahogany, its surface polished by years of careful navigation. I feel the grain beneath my fingertips, a map of the tree's own life. The barometer on the wall shows a steady pressure, a sign of calm weather for the hours ahead. Its needle is a thin black line, pointing toward a future of clear skies. I watch it for a moment, listening to the tiny clicks of the internal gears. It is a reliable companion in this isolated space. The glass casing is cool, reflecting the amber glow of the nearby lamp. I tap it gently, confirming that the mechanism is still free to move. A small tray sits on the edge of the desk, holding a few dried orange peels. Their scent is faint now, a citrus ghost that haunts the room. It is a reminder of the groves we carry with us, a piece of home on the open sea. I pick one up, the skin leathery and stiff between my thumb and forefinger. It represents the quiet care that goes into maintaining our small, floating garden. The fragrance is a sharp contrast to the briny atmosphere that permeates the rest of the ship. I touch the wall, feeling the strength of the Adam wood. It is a storied timber, capable of weathering the fiercest of oceans. Under my palm, the grain is smooth, yet possesses a vitality that few other materials can claim. It vibrates with the pulse of the ship's engine, a deep and comforting thrum. This wood has seen more than most men see in a lifetime. It is the skeleton and the skin of our entire existence. The ship seems to breathe with the swell, a slow and measured expansion. I can hear the tension in the rigging outside, a melodic strain that speaks of endurance. It is a comfort to be held by such a sturdy vessel. The wood moans occasionally, a low and soulful note that echoes through the cabin. It is the language of the sea, a dialect that one learns only through long years of service. I listen to the dialogue between the hull and the waves. I look at the shelves where the reference books are lined up in neat rows. Their spines are worn from frequent use, the gold lettering fading into the leather. They contain the knowledge of generations of sailors, a collective wisdom that we rely upon. I pull a volume on celestial patterns, its pages yellowed and smelling of old dust. The diagrams are intricate, hand-drawn with a precision that demands respect. I trace the path of a comet that passed this way 200 years ago. The clock on the bulkhead ticks with a steady measure, counting down the minutes until the dawn. It is a mechanical heartbeat in the stillness, a reminder that time never ceases its march. I find a certain peace in its consistency. The pendulum swings back and forth, a silver blur in the dim light. It is the only thing in this room that does not care about the wind or the tide. It simply exists to mark the passage of our lives. The light from the lamp flickers slightly as the ship rolls over a larger wave. It casts long dancing shadows across the floorboards, creating a sense of movement in the stationary room. I adjust the wick to keep the flame steady. The oil inside the reservoir sloshes with a soft metallic tone. It is a warm golden radiance that pushes back the creeping murk of the corners. I feel the warmth of it on my face, a small sun in the pre-dawn hours. Through the porthole, the ocean is an immense, undulating field of grey. The whitecaps are invisible in the low light, but I can hear them splashing against the hull. It is a lonely vista, yet one that feels strangely intimate. The water is a living thing, moving with a purpose that we can only hope to understand. I watch the spray hit the glass, leaving behind a trail of salt and foam. It is a constant dialogue between the vessel and the deep. I pick up a pair of binoculars, their weight familiar in my hands. The lenses are cool against my skin as I check the horizon, one last time. There is nothing but the sea stretching out to the edge of the environment. The glass magnifies the darkness, revealing the subtle textures of the waves. I look for the blink of a lighthouse or the silhouette of a distant ship, but find only the empty expanse. It is a reminder of how small we are in this measureless space. I return them to their place, ensuring they are secure against the movement of the ship. Everything in this cabin has its proper home, a necessity for life on the water. Order is our defense against the chaos of the elements. I straighten a ruler that has slid a few inches to the left. I realign a compass so that its needle points true to the north. These small acts of organization provide a sense of control in an unpredictable setting. The sleeping Den Den Mushi on the side table lets out a soft, bubbling sigh. Its shell is decorated with colorful patterns, a reflection of its personality. It is a quiet presence, a silent witness to the events of the watch. I wonder what it dreams of in its shell-bound slumber. Perhaps it hears the voices of other snails across the measureless miles of ocean. It is our link to the rest of the world, a living telephone that never fails us. I think of the maps we have yet to draw, the blank spaces on our charts. They represent the unknown, the mysteries that still await us. It is a daunting thought, yet one that fills me with a quiet anticipation. Every island is a new story, every current a new challenge. We are the architects of our own discovery, carving a path through the unexplored. The ink on my fingers is a badge of office, a sign of the work that remains to be done. The brass fittings of the navigation table catch the light of the fading stars. They are polished to a mirror finish, a testament to the care we take of our tools. Every surface in this room tells a story of dedication and labor. I see my own reflection in the curve of a bracket, a distorted and ghostly image. It is a reminder that I am just one in a long line of watchers. The ship will endure long after my watch has come to an end. I move toward the skylight, looking up at the glass, where the frost of the sea has formed a delicate pattern. It is like a map of its own, a crystalline landscape that changes with the temperature. I trace the lines with my finger, feeling the chill. The stars are losing their brilliance as the sky turns a deep shade of indigo. The transition is subtle, a gradual shift rather than a sudden change. It is the most peaceful time of the entire watch. I feel a sense of unity with the ship and the sea and the sky. We are all part of the same grand design, moving together through the silence. It is a moment of profound clarity that only the small hours can provide. The tension in my shoulders begins to dissolve, replaced by a weary but satisfied calm. I have done my duty and the ship is safe. The path ahead is clear and the destination is one step closer. I prepare to leave the cabin, my mind already turning toward the rest that awaits me. The transition is nearly complete, the torch ready to be passed. I take one final look around, ensuring that everything is exactly as it should be. The maps are stowed, the instruments are calibrated, and the log is signed. It is a tidy conclusion to a long and quiet watch. I feel the weight of the key in my pocket, a small but significant burden. I pause at the door, listening to the final murmurs of the cabin. The clock continues its tick, the wood continues its groan, and the lamp continues its glow. These are the sounds of a living home, a sanctuary in the middle of the ocean. I am grateful for this space and for the role I play in its preservation. It is a privilege to be a guardian of the Thousand Sunny. The door creaks open, letting in a breath of the cool morning atmosphere. I step out into the hallway, the transition from the cabin to the rest of the ship. A familiar change. The air here is different, more open, carrying the scents of the deck and the galley. I can hear the first stirrings of the crew as they wake for the new day. My watch is over, but the journey continues, a never-ending cycle of movement and rest. I walk toward my quarters, the cadence of my footsteps echoing the pulse of the ship as the first light of dawn touches the mast. The hallway outside the navigation room is quiet, bathed in the soft amber glow of the rising sun. My boots make a muffled, steady thud against the polished timber of the deck. I can smell the faint, salty tang of the sea mixing with the aroma of fresh coffee. It is a comforting, familiar scent that signals the end of my long vigil. The galley door is slightly ajar, and I hear the soft metallic clink of a spoon against a pot. Sanji is already at work, his movements precise and deliberate. He does not look up as I pass, but I know he hears me. There is a silent understanding between those of us who keep the ship moving while others sleep. I step out onto the grassy deck, and the morning breeze brushes against my face. The dew is still wet on the blades of grass, sparkling like tiny diamonds in the early light. The ship feels different in this transition, more alive and yet more peaceful. I walk toward the bow, looking out at the horizon where the sky meets the water in a blur of orange and gold. I catch the scent of the tangerine trees growing on the upper deck, their leaves rustling in the gentle wind. Nami takes such care of them, and they respond with a fragrance that is both sweet and sharp. It is a piece of home, a reminder of the origins of our journey. I pause for a moment, letting the perfume fill my lungs. The figurehead of the Sunny seems to be smiling at the new day. Its wooden mane is caught in the first rays of the sun, glowing with a warmth that feels almost physical. I rest my hand on the railing, feeling the strength of the Adam wood. It is a sturdy, reliable companion through the most treacherous of waters. I descend the stairs toward the lower deck, the wood creaking softly under my weight. The aquarium bar is dim, the only light coming from the glowing tanks where the fish move in slow, graceful circles. Their scales shimmer in the blue-tinted light, a silent dance that is both mesmerizing and calming. I pause for a moment, letting the stillness wash over me. I see a large, flat fish gliding along the glass, its eyes wide and curious. It seems to be watching me just as I am watching it. The water in the tank bubbles softly, a peaceful white noise that fills the room. It is a small, self-contained ecosystem, a world within a world. In the corner, the lavers of the soldier dock system stand ready and waiting. They are cold to the touch, but I know the power they command. I check the settings one last time, ensuring everything is in its proper place. It is a small task, but an essential one for the safety of the crew. I see a figure moving in the shadows, near the library. It is Nami, her eyes bright even at this early hour. She carries a stack of charts, her mind already focused on the path ahead. We exchange a brief, tired nod, a recognition of the work that has been done and the work that is yet to be. I hand her the logbook, the leather cover, worn and smooth from years of use. She takes it with a steady hand, her fingers tracing the embossed gold on the spine. The transfer is complete, the responsibility shifted from my shoulders to hers. I feel a sense of relief, a loosening of the tension that has held me all through the small hours. I make my way toward the crew quarters, the atmosphere growing warmer as I move deeper into the ship. The setting here is thick with the scent of sleep and the gentle, steady breathing of my companions. It is a sacred space, a place of rest and recovery. I move quietly, not wanting to disturb the fragile peace. I can hear the deep, resonant snoring of Zorro coming from one of the bunks. It is a familiar grounding noise, a sign that all is well. Beside him, Chopper is curled into a small ball, his chest rising and falling in a slow, even measure. They are my family, and I am grateful for their presence. My bunk is waiting, the blankets folded and inviting. I sit on the edge of the bed and begin to unlace my boots. The physical effort of the watch is finally catching up with me, my limbs feeling weighted and slow. I set the boots aside, the leather creaking as it rests on the floor. I remove my coat, hanging it on the hook where it sways with the motion of the ship. The fabric is cool and slightly damp from the sea spray. I feel a sense of lightness as I strip away the layers of my uniform. It is a shedding of the role I have played for the last several hours. I look out the porthole, watching the waves as they roll past. They are a deep sapphire blue, capped with white foam that glitters in the sun. The ocean is a constant, a presence that is both beautiful and formidable. I am grateful for the protection that this ship provides, a sanctuary in the broad expanse of the sea. I can see the sails billowing in the wind, their white fabric strained against the masts. They are the wings of the ship, carrying us forward toward our destination. I feel the vibration of the hull, a low, constant hum that speaks of power and purpose. We are moving, always moving, toward the horizon. I climb into my hammock, the woven fabric cradling my body. It sways gently with the roll of the ship, a motion that is as natural as a heartbeat. I pull the blanket up to my chin, the warmth of it a welcome embrace. My eyes are weighted, the lids fluttering as I struggle to stay awake for just a moment longer. I think about the islands we have visited and the ones that still lie ahead. The journey is long and the path is uncertain, but I have faith in our captain and in our crew. We are bound together by a shared dream, a goal that is larger than any one of us. It is a thought that brings me comfort as I drift towards sleep. The light in the room is soft and diffused, filtered through the thick glass of the porthole. It casts long shadows across the wooden beams, creating a pattern of light and shade. I watch the dust motes dancing in the sunbeams, a tiny, silent ballet. They move with an ease that I envy, a freedom that is both simple and profound. I close my eyes, and the dimness of the room is replaced by a soft velvet grey. I can still hear the ship, the groaning of the wood and the lapping of the waves. It is a lullaby, a song of the sea that has been sung for many years. I let it carry me away into the realm of dreams. The transition is complete, the watch is over, and the day has begun. I am at peace, knowing that I have done my duty and that the ship is in good hands. The 1,000 sunny sails on toward the horizon and toward the future. I sleep with the knowledge that I am home. Thank you for spending this evening with me. Until next time on Canon and Calm, sleep well.